Good morning. Is it from Zetster's Lab? You know what I wish? Oh my good, my heart's desire is that I could encourage each and everyone to start making art journals. I mean, really, not art journals, just gratitude journals, just a journal. I mean, I cannot tell you the joy that I'm experiencing with my journals. Say hi, Charlie Chaplin. Whenever I start to talk, he comes running. But he's now a little boy. He doesn't want to sit on my lap anymore. So this is my journals. I think I've started in 5 months back. I don't know. With an art, with more the journal than the sketchbook. I had the sketchbook before, but then I changed it and I started to create my own gratitude journals. I call them gratitude journals because when you work in them, you just add everything that you love into them, and they just remind me to just be grateful. So I think this was my first one. I actually need to put numbers on my second one. And then I made the cloth one. And then it was this one. And I am now busy with my fifth one. I mean, let's say I do one a month. And when I travel, I put in whatever I pick up. And I draw what speaks to me. And I just write down in it whatever touches me deeply. I mean, it's so easy. Nothing is wrong. I mean, music, there I just put a music sheet in. Remember, I bought at the charity shop these 5 or 6 envelopes filled with patterns, old patterns. And there's just slow stitching with some cloth. And as I grow in my creative journey, these things change because all of a sudden I am now doing new things, and I incorporate that in my gratitude journal and just looking through them and just sitting with them and just for once a day just working in them. More than once I do it, but sometimes only once, or I try to. It's just life-changing. You know, as I said, all of us did this when we were younger. We had our journals and we were journaling and we were pressing flowers and little notes from friends, and we put in there, and we've lost that. We gotta get back to what brings us joy in this moment, and that is the easiest way is just a gratitude journal. I call them gratitude journal. You can call them whatever you want, but I mean just by working in them, looking for them, looking through them, it just makes me grateful, you know, just to be alive and be able to experience the beauty that's all around me every day. Even when I'm just at home. I've now been home haven't been on a trip for about a month or whatever, but still, when I walk on the beach, I look for things and I come back with a feather and whatever. It makes you become present of the present, if you know what I mean. It just makes you grounded again, just to be glad you're alive. But you know, when you walk and you work in your journal and you go into your garden, just to just that whole thing of attitude of just looking for things that I can put in my journal, make you look closer and make you become present so that you can enjoy the gift of life. You know, life is a gift, but we missed it because we're never in the present. We're always in the future or the past. And just by having a book that you can work in, sit with, go through, you know, just add things here and there. Just you look at something and you just draw it, even if it's very, very simple like these things. You don't have to be a professional artist to have a gratitude journal. All you have to be is just a person who is grateful to be alive and want to become more and more grateful on a minute-to-minute basis. That's why I said I'm actually going to show you something else, but then this morning I just got up, and as I was sitting outside with my latest journal and looking what I did yesterday, and I just became so overflowing with gratitude, and I don't want to call it an urgency, but just this longing and just wishing that I could share this and get everyone out there to start doing this. Write down your dreams. Write down what makes you glad to be alive, and just become more and more present. You know, it's so easy to just rush through life. That's what we did. That's what I did. I just rushed through every day, just with this idea of, oh, thank heavens, I got through another day. What's the use? You know, you could have just as well been dead because you're not enjoying life, and life is flowing through you, in you, around you, and we miss it because we are so focused on tomorrow and the next thing we need to do and want to do and should do, that we forget to slow down and just appreciate what we do have. What do you have? You know, every time I look up and I look in the thing, I see this little smiley face. I thought, you know, let me put my little smiley face crochet top on. And now every time I see it, I smile. So, you see, do whatever brings you joy. Even if you put a smiley face on a very, very crazy bright sweater that you crochet, you know, you got to find what makes you joyful, what makes you glad to be alive. Your life, your responsibility, your happiness, you know. So what brings you joy? What brings you to stillness, where you can hear and appreciate and savor the moment? And to me, that's working in a journal. And I might just look at that. I mean, that is what I created in 4 months. And going back to them, it immediately brings you into the present. And it's just a awesome experience. So I made many videos of how to create these journals. It is so easy. It is just, or either you can just take and go and buy an ordinary book and just start to write something down once a day. Put something in that you pick up, you know, whatever. And just start, and you will be you will blow your mind, and that's what we're supposed to do, blow our mind so that we can come into the present. And that's just a little video where I just want to share my journey. So I've got many, many videos and I'm sharing my journey and what makes me joyful. And the whole idea is just to get you to start finding out what makes you want to be alive. Glad that you are alive, you know, because it's much, much easier to live bored, living a bored, fearful, angry, resentful, miserable life. Everybody and anybody can do that. That comes, I think, natural to the human mind, you know, the human. But if we want to start living in, through, by the spirit life, the abundant life in us, who's our true nature, you know, we got to start slowing down. We got to start where we find ourselves and just becoming more and more present and becoming more and more aware of what brings you joy. And your things will be different from my things. So your gratitude journal will look totally different from mine, but it will be yours. You know, we put so much stress on ourselves, even if you are a professional artist or whatever you are, then you just want to produce beautiful artworks and you miss the joy of just being alive, full of life in this moment and just appreciating this moment. You know, sit outside with my gratitude journal with a pen or just with my inks or whatever I feel like doing and just drawing. My slow stitching, you incorporate in your gratitude journal everything that makes you come alive. So as I say, I didn't know what makes me happy. I was a housewife and with the kids and always worked from home and creating things to make money. So I didn't really know what makes me happy, what makes me come alive. And I had to find out. And now I'm on a journey, a creative journey, where I am learning and forcing myself, but not in a bad way, but to learn new things. And it's blowing my mind. I am loving every moment. And that you will be able to see in all my journals, how I change, how I learn new things, how I incorporate the new things in my journal. And the awesome thing is I can do it my way. That is the most amazing thing. As I said, the things that makes you come alive is different than mine. So I find the things on YouTube, wherever, that makes me excited to be alive, you know, makes me come alive. And I said, I want to try it. And I go and I try it. Some of the things I don't enjoy, so I don't do it again, but still it's a stepping stone. You know, it's easy to be bored with your life. I was there. I was bored with my life. Same old, same things every day. Until I started on my creative journey and started forcing myself to try new things. And I'm growing and I am loving every moment. This morning I couldn't wait to get out of bed. I just came home from the shops and I am not a shopper. I'm very grateful that I have the money to be able to go to the shops and buy what we need. But I'm not a shopper. But as soon as I need something for my art, for a new project, to try something new, I don't care going to the shops. So I was getting out of bed, making breakfast, just to get to the shops to buy, this time, some vinegar. If you followed my journey the last couple of days, you know I'm now into papers and whatever, and vinegar is involved and I don't know what not. So I needed some vinegar and some other stuff that I couldn't find. But that makes me excited. That gives me the joy to go to the shops, just to go and buy my vinegar so that I can try something new today. You know, and as I said, everything that we do and try is just a stepping stone. Like life, in life, everything you do is just a stepping stone. And even if you think it was a mistake and a blah, 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 oh my goodness, you've learned through it, you've grown, you've matured, you became free, healed, whatever, and that is the reason for our life in this realm, is to grow and expand and mature and heal and become who you were meant to be, you know, before life in this realm got a hold of us. And the awesome thing, when we get to our maturity, we have the time and we have the means, whatever, to really just start to find out, who am I supposed to be? You know, I've realized something, this whole midlife crisis thing that they say. It's not bad. It is actually amazing, because you get to a point in your life where you realize, you know what, I don't want to be this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And some people, I don't know if it's good or bad, it just is, just get the strength or the will, or it's to just leave that old life behind and start new, doing what really makes them glad to be alive. Now, most of us is not like that, so we will have to do it very slowly, you know. So that is it. The last, let's say, 10 years of my life, I am starting to become who I was created to be. And I am loving every moment. And even if you are 70, 80 years old, you're not too old, because life happens now. As long as you're in this realm, life happens now, always in this moment. And this moment, this is the time. This moment is the time to start finding out what makes you glad to be alive and come alive and start walking and flowing in the abundance of life. You know, old is a thing in our minds. Even if the body starts to become slow and whatever, so what? You know, we can still do so many things that can bring us joy. So, but we just got to find it and just search for it and look for it and start doing it and start flowing in it. And the more you do it, the more the life in you will start to flow, and the more joy you'll experience, and power and wisdom and strength, whatever you need to live victoriously through your everyday life in this realm. But we work it from the wrong side, you know. We got to start finding our creative side, that side that brings out the life in us, that starts the life in us to start flowing. So I was actually going to share something else, but I'll make another video. But this is now just a video to tell you the joy of finding out who you really are. The joy of finding out what makes you come alive. That is the most important journey you will ever go on. Finding out who you are, what makes you come alive. And the more we find that out, the more we start to live in that joyful, powerful state. Because when the life in you starts to flow, you receive all the wisdom you need to do what you need to do, all the strength, all the power, all the peace, all the unconditional love, patience, whatever you need to do and to get through your situation that you find yourself in, you will be equipped for when the life in you, your true life, starts to flow. And to me, it's just by finding those things that makes us come alive. It seems so simple, but think about it. What makes you glad to be alive? What makes you come alive? What makes you excited? Follow your excitement, because that will bring you, while I am busy with the things that make me excited, and the life makes the life in me starts to flow, my mind becomes still. Be still and know all is well. And in that stillness, the life in me, I can hear the life, this small, still voice of our spiritual source, our spiritual life, our Father. We can hear that clearly. And that is where we receive whatever we need to live victoriously through whatever situation we may find ourselves in. We believe we need to change the situation. No, we just need to become still so that we can hear and feel and be in the presence of the life in us. Then we will know how to get through our situation filled with peace and joy. You know, we are angry and resentful because life doesn't turn out our way. We're in situations that we don't want to be in. We try to get out of situations. We try to force others to be like who believe they should be and do what we believe they should do. And our life is just filled with one big stress ball, you know. In the meantime, it's about finding the life and the peace and the joy and the power in us. And that will give us the wisdom and the strength and whatever we may need to get through our situation and get out of the situation what we desperately need in order to grow. Oh boy, love you lots. I was not planning to talk about this. I was planning to show you what I created, but more about that in the next video. Love you lots is it from Zesters Lab. So I am just showing you once again what I have been doing the last couple of months in between everything else. And this is what really made me come alive. Help me to try new things, share my life, my journey, and just become more and more grateful to be alive. Love you lots. And everything, if I can, you can. There is nothing that I do that you cannot do. But you don't want to do everything that I do. You want to do the things that makes you come alive. I'm just sharing my journey so that you can find those things that makes you come alive. Love you lots.